The July 22nd, 2019 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello? Here. Ms. Boyce? Here. Chairwoman DeFlorio?
Here.
Ms. Cayley? Here. Mr. Moyo? Here.
Thank you. We will now have the public hearing on the authorization of additions to the Western Monroe County Agricultural District. So before we do, I'm just going to read a little bit of background here. Welcome to the Monroe County Planning and Economic Development Committee public hearing to approve and adopt proposed additions to the Monroe County Western Agricultural District. The public hearing is being held to give the public an opportunity to comment on, one, the proposed addition to the district, and two, the recommendations of the Monroe County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board. I hope you have signed in, and I don't see anyone here, so I guess that's not pertinent. On July 22nd, 2019, the public hearing before the Monroe County Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. This public hearing is part of the regular Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting. Article 25AA of the New York State Agriculture and Markets Law allows the county legislature to create agricultural districts. The law then requires the legislature to review each district 8 years after its creation and every 8 years thereafter to see if it is achieving its intended purpose, which is to help conserve and encourage the use of agricultural land for the production of agricultural products. In 2002 and 2003, the New York State Legislature adopted changes to the Agriculture and Markets Law that enables property owners to petition for adding lands to an established agricultural district at a time designated by the county legislature. Previous to this change, property owners wishing to add lands to the agricultural district had to wait until the established 8-year anniversary date to petition the county legislature for action. A public hearing must be held prior to the legislature voting to add parcels to the agricultural district. The purpose of the public hearing is to give the public an opportunity to comment on the proposed addition.
A mailing regarding this public hearing was sent to the supervisor, clerk, and landowners of the affected town and the Commissioner of Agriculture and Markets on July 15, 2019. Affidavit of publication and posting of hearing notice in the Daily Record and the Rochester Business Journal on July 19, 2019 has been received and is on file in the clerk's office.
Thank you. Following the public hearing, the Planning and Economic Development Committee will take action and make a recommendation to the Monroe County Legislature for action at its next meeting, which is scheduled for 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 13, 2019. We will now hear public comments regarding the proposed addition to the agricultural district from the audience. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the committee on this subject? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. As previously stated, the Planning and Economic Development Committee will take action on this matter, and it will come before the full legislature at the August 13, 2019 meeting. Following its adoption, a report and revised district map will be submitted to the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets. We will now move on to the public forum. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum this evening?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak who would like to address the audience at this time? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the June 26, 2019 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
Referral 19-0149.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any questions? Yes, Legislator Boyce.
Through the chair, what are the requirements for the homeowners or the home buyers of these properties?
Through the chair.
Yes.
Why'd you drop the mic?
Madam Chair, through the chair. There's only one item, isn't there not?
There's 2 items to be voted on tonight. The first item is the agriculture, adding additions to the agricultural district. The second is the contract. Any discussion on the first item? Yes, Legislator Kaylee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the administration. Sort of along my colleague's question. Is there a limit to the size of a parcel that gets added to the agricultural district?
Through the chair, there's no limit to the size of a parcel.
So no, through the chair, no limit or no, I probably should have worded it, no smallness to it, in other words.
Through the chair, the requirement is that the parcel be 50% agriculturally viable, but it doesn't matter what size it is.
Okay, thank you. And then, through the chair, I appreciate the information that you gave in the beginning, but I'll be quite honest, my auditory retention is not as good as your reading skills. So, with that, how do we go up after property has been added that it is in fact being used for its intended purposes? Through the chair.
Through the chair, there is no requirement that it be farmed, so there's no follow-up in that matter.
Thank you. And then through the chair, what is the benefit to the landowner for this to happen?
Through the chair, when a property is added to an agricultural district, the benefits that it receives is a notice. Let's say a neighboring parcel goes through development, that a parcel in ag production in an ag district is given notice about that, specific notice, as well as treatment from the State Department of Ag and Markets. So if there's a right to farm question or some complaint and the State Department of Ag and Markets needs to weigh in, they do that readily for parcels in an ag district.
Thank you. And then through the chair, is there a limit of time that a property has to remain within the agricultural district, or can it be removed again within a short period of time?
Through the chair, every 8 years there's an agricultural review process wherein parcels can be removed from the district. For the Western District, I think the next opportunity to do that is in 2023.
Thank you. And then through the chair, so there is no instrument for someone to remove any sooner than the 8-year period?
Through the chair, no, there is not.
Thank you. Basically, I'm asking through the chair, I'm asking this for my own information. I am a little bit concerned because, again, we only do the two news releases and send to the supervisors of the area rather than the surrounding property owners. I still think that needs to be done. In my mind, it's as if you were living in the city and there was a zoning change. There's a requirement to notify the surrounding neighbors within a quarter to a half-mile radius. And somehow I think that out in a rural area that this would not be too expensive to do. So making that statement, then I'll back myself up and say, am I making a mistake through the chair by thinking that we never notify the people that live in the surrounding area?
Through the chair, we don't do any direct mailing.
Okay.
Just we deliver when the district, when farmers can add land to the district, we notify the municipality, and we notify people who work with the farmers, but we don't do direct mailing to residents.
Okay, thank you. Then my statement through the chair sort of stands. I think that there needs to be a back and forth notification, not just for the farmland itself, but for also the surrounding people, the people that surround the areas. That's all. Thank you.
Any further questions? Yes, Legislator Boyce.
Chair, if you could, was there any response from any of the supervisors that the notice went out to? Was there any kind of correspondence back from them with regards to the districts?
Through you, Madam Chair, no, there was not.
Thank you.
I do have a follow-up question then as well. Is there any direct impact to surrounding neighbors for a property surrounding them to be in the district?
No, there's no impact on neighboring properties whatsoever.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 19-0170.
Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Boyce. Is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator Boyce.
Yes, now I can ask through the chair, what are the requirements to the homeowners or the home buyers of these properties?
Through the chair, the homes will be marketed to first-time home buyers.
And a follow-up question to that, then, would there be any kind of eligibility for funding through the chair?
Through the chair, the funding is just for any eligibility they may have if they've received first-time home buyer counseling. That's,
Okay.
yes, and I'm sorry, just to add to that, for the first week of marketing, it will be opened up to first responders and veterans.
Oh, wonderful. All right, thank you.
Yes, Legislator Moya.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the chair to the administration, is it any person who income qualifies for first-time home buyer club would be eligible to purchase these properties? Is that the way I heard that?
Through the chair, for the BOCES constructed homes, it is not income qualified. They just have to be a first-time home buyer, which means that they cannot have owned a home in the first 3 years, or in the last 3 years, to be a first-time home buyer.
Oh, okay. Is there any information available through the chair about the home that was developed, or the property that was developed last year in Greece?
Through the chair, we do not have final numbers at the moment.
Pardon me?
We do not currently have final numbers for the property at the moment, but we will be coming back to the legislature for approval for the sale of the house when it's ready.
Okay. So, thank you. So it's not ready yet. It hasn't
Correct.
been sold.
That is
Through the chair.
that's correct.
Thank you. Through the chair, the folks who are going to buy this, do they have to go through any sort of education program?
Through the chair, yes.
And who provides that education program through the chair?
Through the chair, it would be through the first-time homebuyer program at the Housing Council at Pathstone.
Thank you. So, I mean, through the chair, is the administration aware that there are income guidelines for participating in the first-time homebuyer program, or am I wrong?
Through the chair, it depends on the program that they come through. Yes, so through the chair, there are other criteria that they can come through. They can just get counseling through the Housing Council, and it could be linked to other banks. But the veterans, the first week when it's marketed to the veterans, it's just as long as you're a veteran or a first responder, you would be eligible to purchase the home.
Thank you. But through the chair, without any sort of counseling, I'm getting a little bit of confusing information. I'm sorry.
Through the chair, they do have to have counseling.
And it's only through the Housing Council through the chair?
Through the chair, the community development has a partnership with the Housing Council, so their program is in line with what we currently do.
Okay, so in my regular job, I teach those classes to first-time home buyers, and that's a set group of people under a set of circumstances, including income. Am I wrong to believe that those are the classes where a person purchasing this house would have to go through, which would otherwise be for the first-time home buyer club program, through the chair?
Through the chair, there are other programs that they administer that are not income-based. But
Okay.
their eligibility is inclusive of the counseling to understand what it means to own a home.
Okay, thank you. Regarding, do we know for the 2018 home, to go back to that through the chair, what contractor we employed?
Through the chair, yes, we have been working with BBT Construction Services.
BBT Construction Services?
Yes, through the chair.
Okay, thank you. Are we using any sort of, or do they, does BBT use any sort of apprentice program, or do they use unionized workers through the chair?
Through the chair, the program was mostly done through the instruction of BBT with the students at BOCES applying what they've learned in the classroom to the house, so they can apply that experience to real-life experience constructing the house.
Okay, thank you. And do we have a timeline for the finishing of the 2018 house through the chair?
Through the chair, we anticipate being able to market the house by the end of the month.
By the end of July?
That is correct.
Okay. So for this that we're starting to fund now, how long do we think this one would take? If it was similar, would it be 1 year from now through the chair?
Through the chair, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh.
Yes, Legislator Kaylee.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Through you to the administration, do we have a location or catchment area for the house that will be worked on for 2019?
Through the chair, we are narrowing it down to within an 8-mile radius of the BOCES, their main office, where
Thank you.
Remoco is.
And then thank you, and then through the chair, could you just be a little bit more specific about that 8-mile radius?
Through the chair, we are looking within the suburban areas that are near BOCES. We are looking at Clarkson, Gates, Brockport, Greece. Yeah, I think that's it.
Pregnant pause. Nope, don't have anything.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before the committee? Seeing none, then the July 22nd, 2019 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will be held on Monday, August 26th, 2019 at 5:15 p.m.